So welcome back to our class session. So again, my name is Michelle Fortunado as your practical research 2 teacher. So for today, I'm going to discuss the hypothesis. But before that, let us know the objectives. First is to define hypothesis, and of course to distinguish null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Also to differentiate hypothesis from research questions. So, hypothesis, as you can notice, there are two different spelling of hypothesis, right? A hypothesis with an I means it is a plural term and it has only one tentative explanation to that, or you only have one assumption. While the hypothesis with an E is a singular term and it has many assumptions, or you have many explanation towards to the specific topic. So again, a hypothesis is a tentative explanation or an answer to a question about variables, their relationship, and other facts involved in the research. So basically, a hypothesis is your assumption towards to your research study. What are you going to do with the results and the process? So the following are the purposes of hypothesis. First, it is a guide on which aspect of the research to focus on. Second, it provides opportunities to prove the relationship between variables. So whether there are relationship or there are no relationship. The third one is to give the right direction of the research. So basically, the assumption will guide you on the result, right? And of course, it outlines your thoughts or summarizing the result and explaining the conclusion. So, you will came up with the process of the research problem itself and the explaining of the result. So there are two categories of hypothesis. The first one is the null hypothesis, or HO, which states the absence of relationship between independent and dependent variables. So basically, there is no relationship between the two variables. While the alternative hypothesis, or HI, it states that there are relationship between independent and dependent variables, so the opposite of the null hypothesis. And of course, there are types of hypothesis. The first one is the theory-driven versus data-driven hypothesis. The theory-driven basically based on theories that explain the relationship and effects of the variables, while the data-driven hypothesis is based on the findings of the previous research studies or previous research paper. The second type is the directional or one-tailed versus non-directional or two-tailed hypothesis. So the directional hypothesis states the relationship of the two variables as well as the relationship of these variables. So as you can notice, there are examples. So a happy dog will eat more. So basically, there is only one answer to that because it states that a happy dog. So a happy dog will eat more. So it is yes. While the non-directional, let's proceed to the non-directional hypothesis, which states the relationship of variables but not on the direction of the relationship. So the example for this one is the mood affects the appetite of the dog. So there are two possible answers to that, whether the dog will eat more or whether the dog will eat less because of the mood that affects the appetite of the dog. So the third one and the last one is the descriptive versus causal hypothesis. A descriptive is basically the description of the relationship between the two variables and the influence happened to that. And of course, causal hypothesis is due to cause and effect relationship. So it is more on the experimental research. So that's it for the hypothesis. So do you know now the difference between hypothesis and research questions? So again, hypothesis is basically a tentative explanation. It is a statement. It is a declarative. While the research question is a question that supposed to be you need to gather information for you to come up with the answer. So that's it for the hypothesis. So if you have any questions regarding to this topic, you can DM me on our GC so that we can deeper our understanding to this lesson. So let us now proceed to our activity. So the direction here is you need to work individually and answer each question intelligently and concisely. So you can send your answer here on my Gmail or in my messenger. So that's it for today. I hope you learned a lot and see you on next lesson.